Do you keep waiting for the right time, for someone to notice you, for a mentor to choose you, for a friend to approve of you, for the world to finally say, "Now you may begin"? Do you hesitate before speaking your vision? Do you hold back your power because no one gave you the green light? Do you think you need permission to become the man you were born to be? Ask yourself, how many dreams have you delayed because you were waiting? How many plans have you buried because no one clapped for them? How many days have you drifted because no one said your name? And how much longer will you keep waiting for someone else to grant you what you already possess? Let me make it plain. You don't need their approval. You need decision. You don't need their applause. You need action. You don't need permission. You need obedience to your own burning desire. In this speech, you will learn why hesitation is a lie, why delay is a thief, and why the top 1% never ask, never beg, never explain, they move. You will be given 8 unbreakable mental laws that will free you from fear, silence the voice of doubt, and burn away the need for anyone's permission. And by the time this speech ends, you will not wait to be seen. You will see yourself. You will not ask to be chosen. You will choose yourself. You will not wait for permission. You will give it to yourself. So now, don't wait. Don't ask. Don't hesitate. Give yourself permission to listen to this speech. Give yourself permission to change your life. You think you need someone to say go? You believe that the gates of success swing open only after you are seen, approved, and applauded? Then hear me now, and hear me with the fire of truth in my voice. Every man who has ever built anything of lasting greatness moved without permission. He acted before the world said he was worthy. He stepped forward not because someone said he could, but because something within demanded that he must. This world does not reward the hesitant. It does not make room for the cautious. It bows only to the bold. Permission is the lie sold to the timid. The masses are taught to wait for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect invitation. But the truth is this: the time is never perfect, and the invitation never comes. If you are waiting, you are losing. If you are asking, you are already behind. Let this truth shake your soul awake. The builders of empires, the shapers of nations, the men whose names echo through the centuries, they all moved first. They did not look to their left or right. They did not ask, "Is it time?" They did not wait for applause. They acted from within. They obeyed the voice of law planted deep in their hearts by infinite intelligence. You are not waiting. You are wasting. You are not cautious. You are bound. The clock does not pause for you. The hour is already late. The world owes you no announcement. The gates will not part for the hesitant, but they will shatter before the man who walks with decision. I speak now to the man inside of you who is tired of delay. I speak now to the part of your spirit that knows it was made for more, knows it has been circling long enough, knows the hour to act is not tomorrow, not when the world grants favor, but now. Because only the now is real. Only the now can be commanded. In this speech, I will give you 8 mental laws. They are not suggestions. They are not techniques. They are spiritual instructions. If you obey them, they will burn the hesitation from your bones and leave only the steel of decision. If you obey them, your life will no longer belong to the crowd. It will belong to you. I will not flatter you. I will not soften the blows. I will give you law. I will give you command. I will give you the path that the masses reject because it is narrow, demanding, and absolute, but also the only path that leads to greatness. If you think you must be seen before you act, then you will never be seen. If you think you must be chosen before you begin, then you have already surrendered your throne. But if you decide now that you are the one, that you move without permission, that your steps are not subject to the approval of the crowd, then you will rise. Then the world will notice. Then infinite intelligence will respond. And it will respond not with applause, but with power, not with comfort, but with confirmation. It will open the right doors, not because you asked, but because you walked forward without asking. Now listen closely. I will give you 8 laws, 8 commands, 8 weapons for the man who is done waiting. Each one will require that you become someone new, not through explanation, but through execution. Do not just hear me, obey me. Do not just write notes, write your new identity. Do not just feel inspired, feel demanded. This is not a speech, this is a mirror. And the man who stares into it must choose, remain a servant to hesitation, or rise as a sovereign of decision. Part 1. The world waits for the man who acts first. The man who acts first bends the world. He speaks before he is invited. He walks before the crowd assembles. He moves before anyone understands why. And because of this, the world, though confused at first, eventually follows. It always has. It always will. The world may resist the man who acts early, but it eventually makes room for him. It adjusts to his law. The average man waits for conditions to approve of his action. He looks around and asks, "Is it time yet?" But the time never answers. The sun rises and sets, and still he asks. And so he lives like most, full of potential, starved of power. He dies wondering why life never opened the gates. But the gates were never locked. They were waiting to be claimed. The man who moves without hesitation, however, becomes a force. He does not consult opinion. He does not wait for applause. He knows what he came to do, and he begins doing it. He may be mocked, he may be doubted, but he is never forgotten. For the world respects the one who leads, even when it does not yet believe. Say this aloud. I no longer ask if I may act. I act, and the world adjusts. That is not arrogance. That is spiritual maturity. That is law in motion. That is the rhythm of the 1%. They do not drift through days hoping for a sign. They become the sign. Andrew Carnegie once said, "The world has the habit of making room for the man whose words and actions show that he knows where he is going." I saw it firsthand. I did not hear of it in legend. I lived in the shadow of his decisions. Carnegie did not pick the most talented. He did not select the most educated. He chose men who moved, men who decided, men who knew without being told. One such man was Charles Schwab, young, unqualified in the eyes of academia, yet bold, magnetic, certain. When asked to lead, he stepped forward before the question was finished. And for that reason, Carnegie gave him empire. Understand this: greatness does not sit waiting to be tapped on the shoulder. It demands to be seized. The man who acts first may not be understood, but he will be remembered. The crowd may not follow today, but tomorrow they will ask how he saw what they did not. Why does the world follow such men? Because it is starved for clarity, because it is drowning in hesitation, because most men are watchers, not movers. But when one man moves, the fog lifts for all. Now let me speak plainly. Hesitation is a sin against your destiny. It is theft against your power. Every second you spend waiting is a second you teach the world to ignore you. Every moment you delay is a message to the subconscious that you are not in command. And the subconscious, once convinced of your indecision, will refuse to assist you. You must act now, not because the conditions are perfect, but because the conditions will never be perfect. You must act now, not because you feel ready, but because readiness is the fruit of motion, not the cause. And you must act now, not because others approve, but because your aim demands it. This is law. The man who moves first owns the field. The man who speaks first shapes the room. The man who acts without being told becomes the standard others measure themselves by. You must now become that man. But what if I am wrong? The mind whispers. Then adjust, course correct. But do not stand still. The man who waits for perfect action never takes any. But the man who acts boldly can refine along the way. The world forgives mistakes. It never forgives weakness. You must now build your reputation with your own mind. Let your subconscious see you act. Let it watch you move without begging. Let it witness that you are no longer a man who asks, but a man who executes. When this becomes habit, the world will reflect it back. Doors will open. Resources will appear, not because you waited, but because you walked. Repeat this. I no longer ask if I may act. I act and the world adjusts. That is your rhythm now. That is your mental frame. That is your new spine. You will not wait for friends, mentors, society, or strangers to clap. You will move, and the echo of your footsteps will become the signal for others to rise. Action is not something you do. It is who you become. And the more you do it without request, the more you build the muscle of command. Soon you will no longer think, should I? You will simply know. And from that knowing, you will move mountains. This is not theory. This is not philosophy. This is law. And you must now choose, continue waiting for someone to say go, or become the one who never needed to hear it in the first place. I have given you the command. Now act. Act today. Act before you feel ready. Act when no one is watching. Act when no one believes. And soon the world will begin to rearrange itself around your movement. Part 2, delay is the death of power. Every time you delay, you tell life that you are not ready. And life, being obedient to the one who commands it, simply agrees. You delay and speak of caution. But caution is rarely wisdom. It is often fear dressed in the robes of logic. Delay is the polite mask of indecision, and indecision is the murderer of destiny. The man who builds does not delay. He moves with intent even before he understands everything. He knows that the act of movement reveals the path. He knows that waiting for clarity is a form of paralysis. He knows that power is not given to those who hesitate. Power is claimed by those who act and refine as they go. Henry Ford did not wait for unanimous support. He did not wait until the engineers were certain. He did not consult the masses, the press, or the doubters. He launched the Model T when many believed it would fail. And because he moved, the industry followed. He acted first. He adjusted later. That is the rhythm of every builder, and say it aloud. I do not delay. I declare. I do not consult fear. I override it. This must be your law now, because every hesitation plants a seed in the subconscious that says, I doubt myself. And that seed grows quietly until it becomes a belief that paralyzes, a belief that whispers, I am not ready. And once believed, it becomes your law, unless you kill it with immediate action. Let me speak to the voice in you that calls hesitation wisdom. You say, but I must wait until I have more knowledge. You say, but I must prepare more before I begin. But how much preparation is too much? How much knowledge do you need before you act? That is the deception. You will never feel ready because readiness is not a state you arrive at. It is a result of decision. The builders of the world act with imperfect knowledge. They act with partial certainty. They act while others prepare. And because they act, they get feedback. They learn faster. They adjust better. They earn credibility with the subconscious faster, and therefore they move ahead while others remain still. Each moment you wait for the perfect moment, the moment decays. Each time you hesitate, life becomes less responsive. The doors do not remain open for the man who cannot decide. The universe gives to the bold, not the balanced, to the resolute, not the reasonable. You must now become the man who moves when others are still thinking. Let me give you this picture. Two men stand before a field. One waits for the weather to clear. The other begins to plant, even in the fog. The second man does not know everything, but he moves. By the time the weather clears for the first man, the second is already harvesting. That is the difference between the one who commands and the one who delays. And I say again, delay is not neutral. It is death. Death of energy, death of momentum, death of identity. The more you delay, the more you reinforce the identity of the man who does not move, and identity becomes your master. Soon you will say, that's just who I am, and you will believe it, but it was built by delay. Break that identity now. Speak aloud. I do not delay, I declare. I do not consult fear, I override it. Let your voice cut through the lie. Let your spirit rise in defiance of hesitation. Let your body feel the urgency of your calling. Because delay does not just waste time, it kills vision. It drowns your definite chief aim in lukewarm indecision. Begin to train your mind to move fast. When you have a thought that serves your aim, act on it. When you see a path that aligns with your law, step toward it. Do not discuss it endlessly. Do not wait for all lights to turn green. Take the first step. Speed of thought must become speed of execution. The most dangerous man is not the one who knows everything. He is the one who does not delay. Because he will learn faster. He will build momentum. He will surprise even himself with how quickly life begins to obey his movement. That is not magic. It is spiritual law. Law favors the man who acts. You must now build a new rhythm. You must become allergic to delay. If something needs doing, do it. If a word must be spoken, speak it. If a plan must be executed, execute it. Delay no longer belongs in your vocabulary. It is no longer welcome in your temple. Because once you kill delay, you ignite command. Once you refuse to wait, you train the subconscious to obey. Once you act without asking, you become a man who builds, not someday, not soon, but now. Say it again. I do not delay, I declare. I do not consult fear, I override it. That sentence is your sword. Use it when doubt rises. Use it when the old habits whisper, wait. Use it when your body hesitates. And then act. Act fast. Act fully. Act without negotiation. You are not here to hesitate. You are here to build. And builders do not ask for conditions to be perfect. They move and create perfection as they go. Part 3. Permission is a prison. You have been taught from birth to wait. Wait your turn. Wait until you're qualified. Wait until someone taps you on the shoulder and says, now you may begin. But no man who built greatness waited. No man who made history waited. The idea that you must be given permission is a lie, one crafted to keep the masses obedient and to keep the bold from rising too soon. Permission is a prison. It is not a delay. It is a denial of self-trust. Each time you ask, may I? You hand your power to someone else. Each time you say, am I ready? You deny the fire that is already burning within. And each time you hesitate for another's blessing, you betray the one voice that matters, your own. Understand this now and forever. No one with power is giving you access. They are defending their gate. The gates are not locked by accident. They are held shut by men who waited too long, then decided to keep others from moving faster than they did. And yet you wait at those gates. You knock, you plead, you wonder if they will ever open. They won't. You must kick them in. Thomas Edison did not wait for society to say, you may invent the future. He took it. He did not attend university. He was not granted titles. He did not ask for recognition. He moved from thought to action, from idea to laboratory, from failure to fire. And because he acted without permission, the world eventually obeyed his light. You must now choose, remain behind the velvet rope, waiting for your name to be called, or tear down the rope and declare, I no longer beg. I enter. I no longer knock. I walk through. That is not disrespect. That is the highest form of self-respect. Because a man who has found his aim, who has written his law, who repeats it with faith and persistence, that man does not need permission. He already has it from within. Let me speak clearly. You are not too young. You are not too old. You are not underprepared. You are not unknown. You are only waiting because you have been taught to. And what you've been taught must now be unlearned through action. Not debate, not discussion, but action. The longer you wait, the more you convince your subconscious that permission must be earned. But it cannot be earned. It must be seized. Every act of waiting makes the chains tighter. Every defiant move breaks them. So move. even when they laugh, even when they doubt, especially then. Society praises conformity, but rewards courage. The crowd says, be patient, but it cheers the man who moves. The contradiction is this: the world teaches permission, but it bows to power, and power never asks. Power declares, power acts, power breaks. Say it now. I no longer beg. I enter. I no longer knock. I walk through. Let that law burn down every hesitation, every inherited belief, every fear of what they might say. They will speak no matter what. Let them speak of your courage, not your delay. You have already waited long enough. The ideas you hold, the plan you've postponed, the message you've muffled, all of it is suffocating behind a wall you built with your own hands, brick by brick, made of requests and apologies. Tear it down. Tear it down today. Write down everything you have delayed. Write the names of the people you've waited on. Write the rooms you've refused to enter. Write the dreams you've postponed until someone says you're ready. And then burn that list with your action. No one gave Lincoln the confidence to lead. No one gave Rockefeller the endorsement to rise. No one gave Ford permission to build an empire. They moved, and the world bowed. They walked, and the road formed beneath them. You must do the same. Not tomorrow, not soon, now. Because every time you ask, is it my time? You chain your destiny to someone else's opinion. And no man whose destiny is controlled by others will ever build what he was born to build. The world is waiting, not for the next man who begs to be seen, but for the next man who enters without apology, who declares himself ready, who builds without a blueprint from others, who becomes the invitation. Say it again. I no longer beg. I enter. I no longer knock. I walk through. Say it until the voice of doubt crumbles. Say it until your bones believe it. Say it until you forget what hesitation felt like. And then act. Act without looking back. Act without waiting for response. Permission is a cage. You hold the key. Use it, walk through, move now. Part 4. The voice of doubt must be silenced. Daily. The most dangerous voice is not the one outside of you, it is the one within. It is quiet but constant. It whispers not with rage but with reason. It says, maybe wait. It says, what if you're wrong? It says, be careful. And because it sounds like logic, most men obey it. But that voice is not your ally. It is the ghost of every fear you inherited. That voice was planted. It was placed in you by the frightened, the failed, the forgotten. It was given to you by teachers who never risked, by parents who never built, by friends who never rose. And now it speaks in your own voice, convincing you that caution is virtue, but it is not. When that voice tells you to pause, it is not to protect you. It is to keep you small. Abraham Lincoln knew this war. He was mocked, opposed, doubted even by his own men. He carried the weight of a nation and the fire of purpose at once. But he did not let the voice of fear win. He wrote, he prayed, he acted. He made decisions in silence while fear screamed. And because he moved in spite of doubt, the world remembers his name. You will not escape the voice, but you can silence it. Not by arguing with it, but by overpowering it. How? With daily repetition of truth, with bold decisions, with the obedience of discipline over the comfort of delay. Say this now. I move before I feel ready. I act before I am applauded. Say it again. Let it ring louder than fear, because if you wait to feel ready, you will wait forever. If you wait to be seen, you will remain invisible. Power is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to obey it. You must now begin each day with war, not with others, with yourself. When your eyes open, the battle begins. Before you look outward, look inward. Go to the mirror. Stand before your written law. Speak it aloud. Let your own voice rise above the noise. Say, I am the one who commands. I am the one who moves. I am the one who does not wait. The voice of doubt will try to survive. It will shift shapes. It will take new forms. It will wear the clothing of wisdom. But you must learn to see through it. Ask, does this voice serve my aim? If the answer is no, kill it with action. Do not think twice. Move. Speak. Building before it gathers strength again. Understand this. Confidence is not something you are given. It is something you generate through repeated defiance of doubt. Every time you act in spite of fear, you gather strength. Every time you move when unsure, you carve a deeper groove of identity. Over time, the voice weakens, not because it vanishes, but because it no longer rules. Most men live as servants to hesitation. They disguise it as patience, but their results expose them. A man can say he's being cautious, but if he has no fruit to show, he is lying to himself. You must now become a man whose actions speak louder than his fears. Each morning is your chance to decide again. Will you rise and speak your law with fire, or will you let the ghost of doubt whisper you back into drift? That choice, repeated daily, becomes destiny. And you are always training your mind, either to obey you or to question you. There is no neutral, so you must train it, not once, daily. Every day before the world speaks, you must speak first. You must command the inner man before the outer world distracts him. You must return to your aim, read it aloud, and say with conviction, this is who I am. This is what I build. This is what I obey. And when fear arises, do not resist it. Override it. Do not argue. Act. Do not freeze. Move. Movement is the only cure for mental doubt. There is no philosophy greater than momentum. Doubt cannot live in motion. It feeds on pause. Starve it, repeat again. I move before I feel ready. I act before I am applauded. This is your antidote. This is your power. You will not wait until you are seen. You will become seen by moving while invisible. And once the world sees what you have built, they will say, he was always chosen. But you will know, you chose yourself. Silence is not passive. It is preparatory. In silence, doubt grows. In movement, identity grows. Choose your soil wisely. Choose action. Choose repetition. Choose daily defiance of that old voice. Every time you ignore it and move, you are one step closer to becoming untouchable. Now build your ritual. Do not let a single sunrise pass without standing before your aim. Do not begin your day without declaring your identity. Do not speak to the world until you have spoken to your soul. This is how kings are built, not in applause, but in morning warfare. You will not be the man who hesitates. You will not be the man who needed encouragement. You will be the man who encouraged himself, who spoke life into his own mind, who declared victory before the world offered recognition. And because of that, you will rise. Part 5. The door is already open, but you must walk through alone. You do not need someone to hold your hand. You do not need a crowd behind you. You do not need the nod of society, the cheers of friends, or the eyes of the world. The door is already open, but it opens to those who walk forward alone. Not because they wish to be alone, but because they understand that separation is the price of transformation. Most men wait for company. They wait for agreement. They want someone to say, let's go together, so they do not feel afraid. But that is the voice of comfort, not the voice of law. The man who walks alone moves ahead. The man who waits for others remains behind. Every step you postpone while waiting for support is a step that weakens your conviction. The law of greatness demands separation. It demands that you walk without applause, that you act when others are still watching, that you move when others are still thinking. The man who rises fast must first be willing to rise alone, and in that loneliness he finds strength, not the strength of the crowd, but the strength of decision. John D. Rockefeller did not ascend by blending in. He was disciplined, reserved, methodical, and misunderstood. His strategies were quiet. His moves were rarely approved by others. But he walked through every door the moment it cracked open. even when others stood frozen. That is why he built an empire, not because he had more support, but because he had more certainty. Say this now. I walk alone. I walk first. I walk because I was born to lead. That is not pride. That is position. The leader does not require agreement. He requires alignment with his own law. The man who knows his aim cannot wait for the crowd to see it. He must become it before they understand it. You must now abandon the idea that someone will come with you. Yes, others may follow later. Yes, some may eventually recognize your path. But the first 100 steps, you must take them in silence. You must take them with no promise of company. And in those steps, you will become something new, something rare. Aloneness is not loneliness. Solitude is not sorrow. These are the conditions in which the mind strengthens, the aim deepens, and the will becomes forged. If you cannot walk alone, you are not yet ready to lead. If you need applause to begin, you are still bound to permission. If you need hand-holding, you are not yet free. Understand this. The man who walks alone becomes the man who no longer fears opinion. And the moment you stop fearing how others perceive your action, your pace increases. Your decisions sharpen. Your clarity multiplies. You become powerful not because of who walks with you, but because of how you walk when no one does. This is the great separator. Not talent, not intelligence, but the willingness to move when it's silent. The man who waits for the crowd will never be ahead of it. But the man who goes first commands where the crowd will go next. The door is already open. It may not look that way to the eyes of fear. But if you have declared your aim, if you have written your law, if you have begun speaking it with repetition and fire, then the door is not waiting to open. It is waiting for you to step through. But here is what stops most men. They want to be invited through the door. They want the world to say, now it's your time. But time does not speak. Doors do not invite. They respond. And they respond to the man who refuses to wait. Walk through now. Do not look around to see if others are coming. They will not. They are still asking. They are still wondering. They are still hoping someone else will go first. And they will watch you walk, confused at first, then jealous, then admiring. Let me say it plain. You must go first. You must go before the world sees you. You must go before the plan is complete. You must go before the resources are certain. You must go before you feel ready, because readiness is the fruit of obedience, not its prerequisite. Repeat again, I walk alone. I walk first. I walk because I was born to lead. Say it until it lives in your bones. Say it until the fear of being seen vanishes. Say it until your feet move with rhythm even when the world is silent. You are not waiting anymore. Not for permission, not for company, not for applause, not for understanding. You are walking now. Alone, yes, but not empty, because you walk with your aim, you walk with your law, you walk with infinite intelligence, and in time the world will adjust. The crowd will follow. The doubters will ask how you saw what they missed. But you will not answer. You will not stop to explain. You will have already walked through the next door, because once you learn to walk alone, you never go back. Part 6. Infinite intelligence obeys the bold. The universe is not deaf. Infinite intelligence is not indifferent. It watches every movement, every decision, every act of faith, and it does not reward the passive, the cautious, the man who waits to be seen. It rewards boldness. It responds not to the man who whispers, "May I?" but to the one who commands, "I will." There is a spiritual law that governs this world, and few understand it, the law of mental causation, that your thoughts, backed by belief, expressed through decision, and reinforced by repetition, become reality. But this law, like all natural forces, respects power. It does not rush to serve the man who hesitates. It moves for the one who walks in certainty. When you act with boldness, when you speak your aim aloud, when you move as if it is already done, you become visible to this law. You become aligned with the very force that governs creation. It is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is not pride, it is purpose. Charles Schwab, though young and uncredentialed by worldly standards, moved boldly. While others calculated, he decided. While others waited for approval, he acted. And Carnegie, seeing this boldness, gave him command. Not because Schwab asked, but because he declared through movement, "I am ready." Infinite intelligence works the same way. It gives to the one who proves readiness through action. Say this aloud now. I move as if it is mine. I speak as one who already owns. Let this truth soak into your bones, because hesitation makes you invisible, but boldness brings you into view. The man who tiptoes around life dies wondering why life never bowed. The man who stamps his foot, who claims territory, who walks with fire, he receives more. Not because he asked, but because he acted. You must now begin treating your definite chief aim not as a hope, but as a law. Speak it daily with power, not softly, not once, but morning and night until it becomes the very root of your identity, until your subconscious believes it more than any doubt, until infinite intelligence sees you not as a seeker, but as a master of direction. You are not here to beg for favor. You are here to command it through discipline, persistence, and decision. You are not here to plead for opportunity. You are here to create it by moving toward it before it's visible. That is the law. That is the way. Every time you say, "I will," and follow it with action, you send a signal, not just to the world, but to the creative force that molds conditions, summons people, and rearranges events. But it must be backed by decision. A vague desire means nothing. A burning, definite command backed by relentless motion. That is when the universe listens. When you move without needing applause, you prove yourself worthy of support. When you act without being seen, you prove yourself worthy of reward. When you believe before the evidence, you become the kind of man infinite intelligence uses to build its greatest works. I say again, I move as if it is mine. I speak as one who already owns. Not to pretend, but to prepare. Not to fantasize, but to create. Faith is not a feeling. It is movement in the dark. And the bold are the ones who move when no proof exists. You must not wait for signs. You are the sign. You must not ask if the path is clear. You are the one who clears it by walking. You must not ask if you're worthy. You must act as one who already knows he is. This is how law is obeyed. This is how power is attracted. There are men who pray for change but do not move. There are men who hope for wealth but do not plan. There are men who speak of desire but never decide. And there are men who walk when it's quiet, when it's dark, when it's hard. And those are the men infinite intelligence crowns. If you speak your aim aloud each day and act in its direction with boldness, and think as though it were already yours, you will begin to notice the world respond. People will appear. Ideas will form. Doors will shift. Not because you are lucky, not because someone helped, but because you obeyed law, and law does not fail. Let this be the new rhythm of your morning. Wake, speak your aim, affirm your identity, move with certainty. Let this be your evening pattern. Review your actions. Give thanks as if it were already done. Speak again your command. Day after day, without interruption, without excuse, without the need to be seen. You do not move to be noticed. You move because law demands it. And when you obey law, law obeys you. Repeat again. I move as if it is mine. I speak as one who already owns. This is your code now. This is your posture. This is your crown. Wear it in silence. Move with decision. Watch what happens next. Part 7. No one is coming. It was always you. You wait. You hope. You believe. If I work hard enough, someone will come. A mentor, a partner, a hand from the sky. You tell yourself that once they arrive, you'll begin. You'll speak louder. Move faster. Obey your purpose with greater fire. But I say to you now, no one is coming. Not to discover you. Not to rescue you. Not to tell you it's time. It was always you. You were not meant to be chosen. You were meant to choose. You were not meant to be invited. You were meant to enter. You were not meant to be blessed by others. You were meant to speak your own blessing aloud and obey it without apology. The masses wait for favor, but the 1%, they become it. I learned this not from theory, but from pain. I waited once. I thought if I worked with enough fervor, someone would grant me recognition. But when no one came, I realized that the climb is always done alone. And it is that very climb, without applause, without witness, that forges the man who is ready to lead. No one came to tell me to write Think and Grow Rich. No one asked me to gather the secrets of the most powerful men in America. No one handed me a stage, a platform, or a crown. I began in silence, with faith, with fire, and with obedience to a definite chief aim that no one else could see but me. And so must you. The man who waits will always be behind. He'll speak of potential, but have no fruit. He'll carry ambition like a coat he never wears. He'll speak of greatness, but be bound by hesitation. He'll watch others rise and say, they were lucky, but they were not lucky. They simply moved while he waited. Say it now. I am the one who must act. I am the one who must speak. I am the one who must lead. Let it burn away the lie that your destiny belongs to someone else's decision. It does not. It never did. It never will. If you do not act, nothing happens. If you do not decide, nothing moves. If you do not step forward, the door remains closed. You must now destroy the false hope of being discovered. The myth of being seen is the trap that has ruined millions. You do not need the world to see you. You need to see yourself. You need to see your aim. You need to obey the vision before anyone else believes in it. And that obedience will summon the world, not the other way around. Let me speak clearly. The world owes you nothing. It is not watching, not waiting, not concerned, but infinite intelligence is. And it does not send angels to push you. It sends ideas. It sends fire. It sends discontent. And you must act on those signals like a man who no longer asks. No one is assigned to open the gates for you. The gates respond only to fire. They open not to talent, not to need, but to conviction. They do not swing open with patience. They swing open when kicked by a soul that has burned with purpose long enough to say now. And so you must act, not because someone says so, not because you are seen, but because your inner command has spoken and it cannot be ignored. The subconscious does not respond to potential. It responds to authority, and that authority must now be you. Think of the great men. Edison was not discovered. He lit up the world by force of vision. Ford was not chosen. He built until he was impossible to ignore. Lincoln did not rise because a party crowned him. He rose because he declared war on weakness within and without. None waited, and yet we speak of them now because they acted. You do not need another podcast, another course, another man's permission. You need daily war with hesitation and daily obedience to your law. You need to stop talking and begin moving. You need to stop hoping and begin commanding. This is how kings rise. Repeat again. I am the one who must act. I am the one who must speak. I am the one who must lead. Say it until you forget the names of those you waited on. Say it until your soul recognizes itself again. Say it until your feet move without needing someone else to move first. There will be no more once I have, or once they say, or if they see me. All of that is the language of delay, of permission, of the servant mindset. You are not a servant to circumstance. You are the architect of outcome, but only if you claim it with action. Now look at your plan. Look at your aim. Look at the thing you keep saying you're meant to build. And then ask, what would I do if I knew no one was coming? Then do it. That answer is your true path. That answer is your power. No more waiting. No more scanning the crowd for a savior. You were the one. You are the one. And now you must act like it. Part 8. Move now. Speak now. Begin now. This is the final word, the last command, the unbreakable law. Move now, speak now, begin now. If you have listened this far, you are no longer innocent. You are no longer asleep. You are no longer allowed to pretend you do not know what to do. The moment is here, not tomorrow, not when it feels easier, not when the stars align, but now, this very breath. You must kill the last lie that the time will present itself. Time does not present, it passes. It does not offer itself. It demands to be seized. Every second you say soon, you bleed strength. Every delay is another inch between you and the man you could become. Begin now is not advice, it is survival. You are not waiting, you are deciding. You are not unprepared. You are undisciplined. You are not lost. You are resisting the order already spoken by your own soul. Your subconscious has been fed your aim. You've spoken it, written it, burned it into the mirror each morning. Now, the only question left is obedience. Do not wait for certainty. Certainty is earned by movement. Do not wait for courage. Courage is formed in motion. Do not wait for proof. Proof follows the man who moves without it. Speak your law aloud. Repeat your aim. Command your body into motion. Strike a blow, any blow, in the direction of your mission. Say aloud now, I move now. I do not wait. I obey the law within. Say it again. Speak it until every cell in your body aligns with it. Let your blood move faster. Let your mind burn through the fog. The world does not need another thinker. It needs a builder, a doer, a commander. And that must now be you. You say, but I don't know what to do first. Then write down your aim. Read it twice. Write the next small action that honors it. And do that. You say, but I don't feel ready. Then act while unready. That is the only way to become ready. You say, but what if I fail? Then fail fast, adjust, and move again. Only those who do nothing fear failure. Let me speak plainly. Every delay now is disobedience. You know your mission. You know your next step. To stall is to insult the law that gave you vision. To hesitate is to spit on the identity you've declared. You have burned the bridges behind you. There is only forward. There is only now. Recite the laws once more. Move first. Kill delay. Reject permission. Silence doubt. Walk alone. Trust infinite intelligence. Accept total responsibility. Begin now. These are not suggestions. They are identity. The man who repeats them until they shape his blood becomes unstoppable. You must no longer admire the successful. You must embody them. You must no longer repeat the teachings. You must become the teaching. You must no longer watch men of power. You must walk like one. And that walk begins this hour. Write your aim on paper today. Place it on your wall. Speak it every morning and evening. Take one action per day, no matter how small, toward its completion. Make that system your religion. Let no excuse survive its flame. You are not special for understanding this. You are responsible for it. You are not entitled to greatness because you've listened. You are now obligated to act. If you do not, you will suffer a worse pain than failure, the knowledge that you knew and still did not move. Say it again. I move now. I do not wait. I obey the law within. Speak it into the floor beneath your feet. Speak it until your house shakes. Speak it until your doubt flees. Speak it until your body has no choice but to follow. This world does not owe you clarity. It gives clarity to the man who acts. It does not offer reward to the thinker. It gives reward to the mover, the bold, the dangerous, the decisive. You must now become that man, not next year, not next week. Now, go to your mirror tonight. Look yourself in the eye and declare, I begin now. I will not hesitate again. I do not drift. I do not ask. I move without permission. I act from within. Then turn away and take the first step. Let that step lead to the next. Let each step become a declaration that cannot be silenced. You will no longer drift. You will no longer apologize. You will no longer consult the crowd. You are a man of law. You are a man of fire. You are a man of obedience to purpose. You are a builder of destiny. And the only proof you need is that you move. Now rise. Rise with force. Rise with command. Rise with silence, certainty, and speed. Do not wait. Do not ask. Do not think again. Move. Speak. Begin.